Hi, my name is Panni. I'm an artist and a writer in Britain. I was born here, but I've got family and heritage from my Malaysian Chinese background. I think it's interesting that the United Nations have gender equality as their 5th goal. And although there's still girls that is, going to school earlier, there's less arranged marriages, there is still an underrepresentation of women in all levels of society. I can just speak from my own personal experience of things that women have to face on a daily basis. I was organising a creative event and ready to meet the person who was coming to help install some of the exhibition. The official arrived, and at the same time as they arrived, a man happened to be passing by, just literally passing by. The official looked straight past me and started talking to the man, who was very much bemused because he knew nothing about the creative event that I was installing. And then I had to say to the official, "Hello, I'm actually the person you need to speak to." These sort of things happen quite often in one's life when people in society often defer to speak to the men rather than the women. I've also, although being born here and English is my first language, had people say to me, "Oh, you speak very good English," and speaking to me as though I don't understand what they're talking about. So there's a double bias sometimes with being female and somebody of a non-white background. I think it's really important to have entrepreneurship in education, especially in these times that we're living in now. More and more of us are going to have to find ways of earning our own income, and just to be entrepreneurial as well, to make the most out of opportunities as they're coming up, is a very important skill to have. So I really appreciate the Global Fem Art Programme for offering this opportunity to women to look at their creative practice in the framework of it being a business. So I was fortunate enough to be on one of the pilots for the Global Fem Art, and it was in the form of a global mentoring circle, all from artists, female artists in the city I live in Britain. It was very supportive. We were each given chance to speak about what our aspirations were, and somehow in speaking things out you find your own solutions. It's quite interesting having a group of listening ears of people not necessarily saying, "Oh, you could do this, you could do that." Just you speaking it out in itself is helpful. This, put together with the online platform, enabled us to really put our businesses into context, and it did for me, for example, mean that I have had writing a short story accepted in an overseas publisher book, for example. That's happened since I was on the Global Fem Art, and I've also managed to put together my writing website, which I'm really pleased about as well. I definitely recommend the Global Fem Art Programme to friends and acquaintances. I think there's nothing better than getting support from others who are going through something similar, and I think what's also important to know is that on the Global Fem Art circles, Inova was certainly very careful that although we were all creative practitioners, we were all slightly different. For example, I'm a visual artist, a painter and a writer. There was somebody else who was a textile artist, somebody else who installed creative installations, somebody else who was a photographer and worked on social issues. So we were all slightly different, and I think that's important because then you're not in competition with each other, but you do understand the creative world. So a big thank you to Inova for putting together this Global Fem Art Programme along with partners overseas.